freedom actually requires boundaries. It requires boundaries. You're not going to get anywhere if you just try and drive on any part of the Earth's surface or, into the ocean. You're not going anywhere. The reason we can get places is because we stay between the lines. It's safe if you stay between the lines. If you go outside the boundaries, you're going to hurt yourself or others. And it actually might feel really good to just take off and blow through that guardrail and go airborne. It might feel really good for a few seconds. For a few seconds until you come back down to earth, right? And this is kind of a metaphor for sin. It feels good for a little while until you come back to earth. The boundaries are there for our benefits, not to stop our enjoyment, but to actually put us in an environment where we can enjoy God's creation. As you know, the proverb says, "The prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and suffer for it." What's the difference between being free from and being free to? What's the difference between being free from and being free to? I'm thinking about it in this sense. Freedom requires restraints. Freedom, our ability to do what we want to do, requires restraints. Think about it this way. Freedom from all restraints ultimately leads to death. If you just decided that you were going to have no restraints in life at all, you're going to be dead in very short order. On the other hand, living by the right restraints gives you freedom to live life more abundantly. Everyone in here has restraints on your relationships, don't you? You don't have sex with just anybody. Now, some people try that, and what happens to them? They don't live life very abundantly. They find themselves addicted, diseased, and ultimately dead. You have freedom financially, but you have restraints on your finances, don't you? If you just went out and bought everything, anything you wanted without any regard for how much money you had, you'd be in ruin. You have physical restraints, physical restrictions. You don't just eat anything you want. You don't just do anything you want, especially when you get into our age, right? You kind of choose the activities that you engage in wisely. You know that there are physical restraints on you. And if you don't obey those physical restraints, you are not going to live an abundant life. So everybody has to choose certain restraints because we live in a fallen world. We're not indestructible. There's going to be trouble if you don't have some restraints in your life. But somebody who lives by the right restraints actually can live an abundant life and is free to do things the person that doesn't live by good restraints can't do. I mean, just think about some of the disciplines you might. Say you exercise because you know that exercise is a good thing for you, and it is. Well, now you're free to live a more healthy life than if you didn't exercise. Somebody who practices for hours and hours and hours to play the piano is free to play and enjoy music when somebody who hasn't practiced at all can't. They don't have that freedom. They don't have the freedom to play music for people. They don't have the freedom to entertain people or even entertain themselves. So any kind of discipline requires restraints. If you don't have restraints, you're not going to be around very long. So where's all this going? We're going to see here a little bit later what true freedom is. But the idea that you can have freedom from all restraints is a fool's errand. And if that's the culture's definition of freedom, no wonder our culture's dying.